Jake has $10,000 in extra cash. Marcus has the exact same $10,000. Jake uses his to wipe out his student loan. Marcus drops his into an index fund and keeps paying the minimum. They both think they made the responsible choice. Only one of them actually ran the numbers, and the gap it creates over the next 20 years will change how you think about every extra dollar you'll ever have. Let's keep this fair. Jake and Marcus both earn $60,000 a year. They both have $28,000 left on a student loan at 6% interest with a minimum payment of $310 a month. They both just got a $10,000 bonus at work. Same job type, same age, same debt, same bonus. The only difference is what they do with that check. Jake throws his entire $10,000 straight at the loan. His balance drops from $28,000 to $18,000 overnight. He feels the weight lift immediately. No more interest piling up on that chunk. His minimum payment stays the same, but now more of it chips away at principal instead of interest. He tells his friends he's attacking his debt. They're impressed. Marcus takes his $10,000 and puts it into a total stock market index fund. He keeps paying his $310 minimum on the loan, same as before. He doesn't feel anything different. No debt disappeared, no balance dropped, just a number in a brokerage account that didn't exist yesterday. His friends ask if he's paying off his loan faster. He says no. They look confused. On day one, Jake looks like the disciplined one. Marcus looks like he's avoiding the problem. But debt payoff and investment growth follow two completely different math rules, and only one of them is guaranteed. Here's the part nobody says out loud. Paying off that loan early is a guaranteed 6% return. Every dollar Jake put toward principal saves him exactly 6% in interest. He'll never pay. There's no volatility, no risk, no bad years. It's locked in the moment he makes the payment. Marcus's 6% isn't guaranteed at all. The stock market averages around 10% a year over the long run, but averages hide the ugly years. 2008 happened. 2022 happened. Some years the market hands you 25%. Other years it takes 20% away and doesn't apologize. So on paper, Jake made the safer move. Guaranteed 6% beats risky 10% if the 10% doesn't show up. But here's where most people stop calculating and where the real math actually begins. Let's run it forward 5 years. Jake's loan now started from $18,000, gets paid off 2 years faster than it would have. He finishes paying it off in year 6 instead of year 8. Total interest saved over the life of the loan from that one $10,000 payment, roughly $2,900. Marcus's $10,000 sitting in the index fund at a 10% average annual return grows to about $16,100 by year 5. He's still paying his loan the slow way, same as if he'd never gotten the bonus at all. He finishes paying it off on the original schedule in year 8. At year 5, Jake has saved $2,900 in interest. Marcus has $16,100 sitting in an account. Even after you account for the 2 extra years Jake spends debt-free that Marcus doesn't, the numbers aren't close. But wait, doesn't Jake also benefit from not having a payment anymore once he's done? Yes. Once Jake's loan is paid off in year 6, that $310 a month is completely free. If he takes that same $310 and invests it every month from year 6 onward, by year 8, when Marcus finally finishes his own payoff the slow way, Jake has about $8,400 built up from those 2 years of redirected payments. Add that to Marcus's number. By year 8, Marcus's original $10,000 has grown to roughly $21,400. Jake has his $2,900 in interest saved, plus $8,400 invested for a combined benefit of about $11,300. Marcus is still ahead by nearly $10,000, and the gap keeps widening every year after that because Marcus's money has been compounding the entire time, while Jake's only started compounding once the debt was gone. This is the part that trips people up. It's not that paying off debt is wrong. It's that a guaranteed 6% return sounds safer than a variable 10% return, and it is safer, but safer doesn't mean bigger. Over a long enough timeline, a higher average return wins even after you subtract for the bad years, as long as you don't panic and pull out during them. If I only showed you Marcus winning, I'd be leaving out the real risk. The stock market doesn't move in a straight line. If Marcus had invested that $10,000 right before a crash, he could have opened his account a year later and seen $7,500 instead of $10,000. That's not a hypothetical. It happens to real investors, and plenty of them panic sell at the bottom, locking in a loss that Jake, with his boring guaranteed 6%, never had to worry about. There's also a psychological cost the math doesn't capture. Debt is heavy in a way a number on a screen isn't. Some people check their loan balance and feel dread every single month. For those people, watching that balance shrink faster isn't just math, it's relief. And relief has value you can't put in a spreadsheet. And there's a real world case where paying off debt wins outright. If your interest rate is high, above 8 or 9%, especially credit card debt, there's no reliable investment that beats a guaranteed double-digit return with zero risk. This math only favors investing when your debt rate is genuinely low, like most federal student loans, mortgages, or auto loans under 7%. Jake and Marcus both walked away from that $10,000 bonus thinking they'd made the smart move. Jake thought clearing debt was always the responsible choice. Marcus thought the market would outrun the interest. Neither of them ran the actual numbers for their own interest rate, their own timeline, or their own tolerance for watching a number drop before it grows. The real trap isn't paying off debt, and it isn't investing early. The real trap is following a rule of thumb you heard once without checking whether it applies to your interest rate, your risk tolerance, and your timeline. And if you're wondering what happens when you split that $10,000 down the middle instead of picking one side completely, that's a very different conversation. And the answer might change how you handle your next bonus entirely. But for now, before you send your next extra dollar anywhere, ask yourself one question. What's the guaranteed return versus the expected one? And can you actually stomach the gap between them? Because that's the only question that actually matters.